In this video, we are going to cover the main points about drying aggregate to produce a good blade mix patching material. This is a good way for a new operator to get experience using the controls, watching and feeling the action of the material on the blade. During this video, you will see places where use of the articulation can increase your efficiency and make the job easier. Always be sure the mix floor is clear of weeds, rocks, etc. Allow plenty of room to mix. Be careful not to lengthen your windrows and keep the ends tucked in. It will be much easier to mix if you keep the windrows even. After final mixing, the material should be brought into a single windrow, bermed to a peak with no ridges to trap moisture. You have to start mixing with dry aggregate. The contrasting colors in this shot show the darker, damp material in the windrow. Always be careful not to cut too deep and get foreign material in the aggregate. Set the blade with a fairly sharp angle and a medium pitch. The material will roll along this blade setting. Fill the blade. Use your articulation to turn around. Some operators estimate saving up to 2 hours a day using articulation to turn around on the mixing floor. Watch the heel of your blade when you articulate. It can cut the rear tire. Approach the windrow with a square, tight blade to pick up the material on the floor. If you have a heavy spot, start with a lighter load in the blade. It will load completely when you reach the heavy spot and spread that material out down the windrow. Continue rolling the material until it is dry. Moisture left in the aggregate will cause oil balls when the asphalt is added. Practice using the controls and moving material while drying aggregate can develop the skills that will help you be more comfortable operating the grader. In summary, remember to clean the mix floor of debris, dry the aggregate, and stack it neatly. In this video, we are going to cover the main points of producing good blade mix patching material. This video will also show examples of advantages you can gain by using the articulation feature on your grader. When the aggregate is dry and ready to mix, peel enough aggregate from the windrow to get a pad 2 inches to 3 inches thick and wide enough for the distributor to shoot on. The distributor can drive on this material to spread the asphalt. Follow the distributor after each application. Set your blade pitch so the material will roll and mix thoroughly. Pull more aggregate from the windrow and cover the asphalt with another 2 inch to 3 inch lift. Lifts are layered and mixed until the required amount of asphalt is in the material. Then continue rolling and mixing the material until it is evenly blended. The material at the ends of the mix floor will sometimes be richer. Coordinate with the distributor driver to only spray the middle on some passes. If the aggregate has lots of fines, blending can be difficult. If the material starts to ball, put it in a large windrow and cut shallow lifts off the top. Form a new windrow to push the material against, pressing the oil balls into the mix. This process will cut through the oil balls and force the asphalt through the mix. Watch the material come off the blade. Every stockpile has slightly different material. It is important that you get as near as possible to the mix design for your stack. In summary, let's review the steps in producing blade mix material. Layer the aggregate and the asphalt. Mix the material until it is thoroughly blended. Windrow the mix in a well-crowned stack. Remember, good mix will have as much effect on the quality of your blade patch as your skill in laying it.
In this video, we will cover blade patching. Each blade patch you lay will be a little different. The mix, the condition of the road, the weather, and other factors can each influence the result you get on any given day. This video will summarize basics common in most blade patches. As we go, we'll point out advantages you can gain by using the articulation feature on the patrol. The major objectives of a blade patch are to level the area, build a good riding surface, and leave a good appearance. To accomplish this, you must have straight shoulder lines and neat tapered ends to provide a smooth transition to the original surface. Plan the locations for the ends of patches. Try to stop and start the patch on level road. If the road is very rough or deeply rutted, dump the mix on the tack coat. You can also dump on dry pavement. Tight blade the dump spread to the shoulder. If you make 2 passes for this move, it will help even the distribution of the material in the windrow. Use a sharp, tight blade to make the windrow even. Be sure to run in a straight line. Even windrows help your spread. Windrow position is very important. Be sure you don't put the material out too far towards the shoulder. It should be placed a little past the center of the lane. When the mix is moved to the shoulder, have the distributor make a tack pass next to the windrow. Position the machine to straddle the windrow and tight blade the mix onto the tack. After you finish this pass, tack to the shoulder line. Position the machine for the next run. On this pass, you can begin to spread the material by setting a loose, flat blade. Position the machine to straddle the windrow. Have the outside edge of the windrow falling a tire width in from where you want the edge of the patch to be. With an articulated machine, put it on the edge of the mat. Be sure to drive straight. Try to keep the windrow even. The mix will fall in a straight line coming off the blade. The exception to this might be if there is a deep hole in the center. Dump it a little heavier there when you're hauling your mix in. Hold a straight line on the outside of the windrow. When you reach the end of the patch, tuck your windrow. With a straight frame machine, rotate the blade and leave the material in a pile at the end of the patch. Turn the machine around and approach the patch. Always stop close to the end of the patch and on level road. Set the toe of the blade directly behind the outside front wheel with a sharp angle. Set a loose blade. When you drive forward, articulate the front of the machine slightly and put the outside front wheel on the edge of the windrow. The blade will pick up the pile as you drive up on the windrow, and this will raise the blade slightly, making the taper for that end and keep the rear wheels on a level surface. Be sure to drive the same height up on the windrow all the way across the patch. This will leave a level area even though it was not level to start with. For a straight frame machine, drive on the edge of the mat. Mix will slough around the toe of the blade and the rear wheels will pack it to establish your edge line. By running the tire on the edge of the windrow, it will carry the machine level across holes and high spots and pack the edge line. It also gives you a level pass to guide the rest of the patch. This is the only time you'll ever run on a windrow. Out on the mat, it'll make ridges. Be careful that the mix coming out of the blade will not fall under the rear wheels. One way to tell if the blade is the right height above the area already laid is to watch the toe of the blade. It should just touch and roll a rock or two now and then as you move along. When you get to the end of the tack, cut the wheels sharply and articulate into the windrow. When the toe reaches the tack line, put that end of the blade in float. When the heel reaches the tack line, float that end too. This will extend the mix in a straight line a few feet off the tack. When you come back, this material will fill the blade by the time you're back on the tack. Position the machine to straddle the windrow and carry the mix to the center of the road. Don't use as sharp a blade setting on this pass so that the windrow will even out. Stop on level road and tilt the front wheels toward the toe of the blade. Set the blade flat and loose. As you drive forward, watch the blade, and when the material in it reaches the beginning of the patch, raise the toe slightly. When the heel comes on, raise the blade to the level you need for your spread. When you reach the other end, ease down from the windrow to run in that taper. Cut the front wheels and articulate into the windrow. Stop again and raise the blade. On full width patches, windrow the mix past the center line onto the tack. When you set your blade levels to work the second side of the road, you will maintain the crown profile necessary for good drainage. From the center, blade the material across and set up that shoulder line. Lay the material back to the center of the road. Set the shoulder line, packing it with your wheels. Turn around and repeat the same pass, straddling the windrow, with the heel of the blade near the edge of your patch. Let a very small amount of material roll off the edge along with the chunks. This pass will fill all the drag marks and the surface will be even across the patch. By leaving the chunks along the edge, you can roll them down and leave a good-looking patch. If you have a small pile at the end of the patch, you can blend this back over the patch. Don't string it down the road. If there's a lot of material left, shoot some more tack and put the mix on that. blade angle and pitch are important. You want to force the material under the blade so the surface will be tighter. Too much pressure can cause the patch to tear. These are basic steps in laying any patch, and if they are followed, you will get good patches. Some long jobs will have to be laid in sections. Don't churn the machine around on fresh laid oil mix. The tandems will tear it. Blend the ends back over the first section to eliminate joint traces. Remember that a flat blade will tend to level more than a sharp blade. It gives you additional reach, but it may tend to tear the patch. The amount of angle you can use will depend on the amount of heat and moisture in the mix. You can use a much flatter blade for plant mix than you could if you were using cold blade mix. Most of your laydown work should be done in a low gear with about half throttle. This will give you live controls and plenty of power without excessive ground speed. Too much ground speed will bounce the machine, causing washboards in the path. In summary, let's review the steps for successful blade patches. Prepare the patch area. Establish the shoulder line. Spread the mix. Taper the ends and edges. And maintain the crown. Following these steps, lots of practice and a little luck, you will lay patches you can be proud of.